What in the world were they doing? What I discovered actually surprised me.
I just wanted to go over this very underrated video because it's real shit. And the crazy thing about it is that if I would have shown this video 10 years ago, it would legitimately be one of those like stop the press moments.
They weren't ignoring the border crisis at all. This administration has conducted a campaign to secure the border since day one.
So this video was made, or it was at least published on November 2nd, just months ago, November 2nd, 2024. And two things here, okay? Kamala and Biden did in fact solve the border issue, 100%, all while still maintaining the correct amount of immigrants to keep our, farms and economy and everything, all that afloat.
Biden and Harris prioritized national security without compromising American ideals. Trump has never done that.
I'm not going to show the full video, but if you go ahead and watch the full video, it's actually a lot more interesting than you'd think. Because even in the comments, I saw people saying, wow, I'm a Republican and I definitely dislike Kamala and Biden, but this was a lot more interesting than I expected. I highly recommend going to see the whole video because it's insightful.
How long will we let this border invasion continue?
And it happened on Biden and Harris's watch.
President Biden, stop ignoring the border crisis.
What in the world were they doing? I wanted to find out, so I dug through the data, read Homeland Security memorandum, combed through migrant social media feeds, trawled through hours of speeches.
Today, my administration is taking several steps to stiffen enforcement.
What I discovered actually surprised me. They weren't ignoring the border crisis at all. This administration has conducted a campaign to secure the border since day one. Despite sounding pro-immigration in public,
increasing pathways for legal migration as well as protections for refugees.
Behind closed doors, they were fulfilling many conservative aspirations. I know that's hard to believe.
It's super sad to me that Biden and Kamala, they just never got the credit that they deserved.
Getting stuff done in government is often far less exciting. It involves fine-tuning lots of little dials. It's taken them some time and trial and error, but through many minor modifications, Biden and Harris have transformed the border. It used to indiscriminately allow millions in, but now it tightly controls who gets in.
If you attempt to cross into the United States unlawfully, you will not be allowed to enter.
I found a steady drumbeat of policies that have gone largely unrecognized. I'm going to break these down into the 3 strategies they use to secure the border. First, a policy that was the responsibility of one person in particular.
This is America's border
The appointed border czar.
Don't forget, she was the border czar.
No citizen bears more personal, individual responsibility than Vice President Harris.
She was never even technically border czar. Okay, that's some more of Trump's bullshit. She was never a border czar.
It turns out that Harris has been trying to tell us about this strategy all along.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point. I'm here in Guatemala today.
Why was she in Guatemala?
Right? I mean, she should have been more clear about that. It's like, how the heck are we supposed to know what that means just from saying you're in Guatemala?
For Trump and his supporters, the problem and the solution is always right here. It's the epicenter of their obsession. Nothing else exists. Harris was down here. She was getting to know Guatemala's president. She later went here and sent delegations here, here, and here, and here, and here. For her, the problem is at the border, but the solution lies much further south. You see, this region is a major migration corridor declaration, and here's the best way for me to explain what it does. Remember when Trump said he would get Mexico to pay for the wall? Well, with this declaration, Biden and Harris got Mexico and 19 other countries to essentially build walls for them.
MAGA would never accept that. They would never accept that because it wasn't done by Trump. The whole walls thing, they didn't know Kamala could never build up a wall. They didn't build up walls. It's like, they would never.
For example, Colombia, Costa Rica, and Ecuador agreed to offer legal status to millions of Venezuelans. You see, this declaration does support migration, as long as the migrants are going somewhere mostly other than the US.
Make sure migrants can find opportunities to work.
Starting in 2022, the US got Mexico, Belize, and Costa Rica to place tighter restrictions on Venezuelan migrants trying to fly into their countries. The result of that policy was astonishing. This chart shows that it caused a huge drop in migration to the US. A minor policy tweak in another country stemmed the flow of migrants to America. When migration surged in 2023, the US got Mexico to send troops to stop migrants, and again migration plummeted.
You see how much better it is to be nice to our allies? I mean, to the countries closest to us, like how it should be, like how it's always been. You know, Biden threw a party. He was like, hey guys, let's talk. Instead of punishing them, or we're gonna punish you with this, we're gonna punish. So why would you do that? I mean, this was so much more successful, and they had a great time doing it, and everything was peaceful, and it was just so much better. It's just way better to be nice to your friends, our closest allies. You benefit so much more that way than this way of punishing them. I mean, it's just dumb. It's all ego.
Change to the overall asylum system. It's still not fixed, but it has been transformed. Rather than default to letting migrants in because it's broken, now the default is to say, sorry, system broken, try again later. Biden and Harris have fulfilled only Congress has the power to fix the broken asylum system. It shouldn't be called Biden's open border, it should be called Congress's. Biden and Harris were forced to change priorities. They decided it was more important to secure the border than protect the right to asylum.
Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum.
Biden's tone has shifted dramatically this year. He finally sounds like he's taking the crisis seriously.
President Biden's crackdown.
President Biden shut down asylum processing.
But behind the scenes, he'd already been chipping away at asylum long before that, imposing restriction after restriction on how, when, and which migrants qualify for asylum.
President Biden is to deport large numbers of migrants without processing their asylum claims.
Bueno, nos entregamos, nos detienen y me deportaron.
Information about these new asylum restrictions spread on social media. Tens of thousands of potential migrants saw that the asylum door had essentially been closed, so they decided not to come.
This right here, what he just showed, this is the correct way deportation is done.
A federal judge said that Biden's policies actually look like Trump's had gotten together, had a baby, and then dolled it up in a stylish modern outfit complete with a phone app. Conservative.
Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants from receiving asylum.
The same goes for Harris.
She backed the toughest border control bill in decades. Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
The US economy needs migrants. It seems like Biden and Harris have betrayed our economic, moral, and legal obligations in order to secure the border. But the truth is, Biden and Harris did uphold American values. To prove it, I need to show you their third and most creative strategy for securing the border. They let some people in on purpose. Wait, they let migrants in on purpose? This would seem to contradict everything I've said so far. Not quite. Biden and Harris created more legal pathways.
Stay where you are and apply legally from there.
The idea is to let a few migrants in legally to deter many more from crossing illegally.
You need a lawful sponsor in the United States of America, and you need to undergo a rigorous background check.
TikTok is now full of videos encouraging migrants to come legally.
3 formas para venir legalmente a los Estados Unidos.
El proceso del paro humanitario para Venezuela en 6 pasos.
Para venirme a vivir legalmente a Estados Unidos.
Tomen las vías legales, no se entreguen en frontera.
Conservative experts have actually praised one of these programs. This report found that by letting some migrants in through a legal door, hundreds of thousands of migrants don't come in illegally. Secure the border while upholding our values. Biden and Harris prioritize national security without compromising American ideals. Trump has never done that. That's what makes Biden and Harris's policies like an invisible border wall. They didn't have to physically build a wall, but they were still able to keep migrants out. After a year of waiting in Mexico, Kleiber was finally allowed into the US. These people waited in line and came in legally, at airports, not at random spots on the border. They've undergone background checks. They have family or a sponsor in the US that can financially support them.
Kamala and Biden did solve the border issue 100%. They did. They did solve it. How dumb and pointless it was to spend so much time worrying about this issue. Because you know, one of the main things I wish I can tell Donald is like, haven't you ever heard, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's that simple. What the heck? What is your explanation for this? Why do you keep trying to fix things that ain't broken? Dumb.
One of the biggest issues for you right now is voter.
Border security. The border. Probably the border.
Closing the border.
Illegal immigration.
The migrant crisis, how has it affected you personally?
Nothing. It hasn't.
I don't think I've been personally affected yet. They haven't overwhelmed my little small town. Yeah. They haven't affected my work yet or anything like that. However, it's affected me thinking that it's possible there could be terrorists coming through there.
Does anyone care about the migrant crisis in this country? Has anyone personally been affected by it?
We all are personally affected by it.
Oh, good. Do you have a good story about it? We're trying to get one person to like tell us their personal.
I don't have a direct story, but gotta find someone with a direct story.
I know.
What are you looking for?
We're looking for someone with a personal story about the migrant crisis or the border.
I do not have a personal story.
Personal? Anyone? No? No? No one.
Hey, I'll tell you something. I'm from Canada. It took me a half hour to cross the border. Legally.
You guys know this guy?
No. I can show you my driver's
license.
license.
I mean, we should vet him.
There's my health card. Coming across legally takes you forever. They grill you.
But they grill you? Like it's really intense?
Yeah. They grill you. Want to know what you know? Open the trunk, open the windows. Let's see what's in the car. I'm just a middle-class Canadian, and they're giving me crap.
Have you been personally affected by the migrant crisis?
Not so far.
And this is the #1 issue you have as a voter.